Hello everyone, my name is Shubhi Chaube and I have cleared IBPS SOIT officer exam in the year 2019. I was fortunate enough to get All India rank 12 in the IBPS SOIT officer exam 2019 and the first rank in Union Bank batch of IT officer for that year. I am here to share my interview experience with all of you. So let's begin. Our interview dates were out and the admit card were out, and we all started preparing for it. On the day of interview, we reached the venue beforehand, and we were first of all seated for being called for the biometric. So we waited for that. After the biometric process was done, we all were numbered, and according to our numbers, we were going in for the interview. I was the first one to go in that day. That was the 8 a.m. batch. So I entered into the examination hall, the interview hall. There, there were three panelists. So they welcomed me. They asked me to sit, and they were really warm and welcoming. They were actually very cordial, and they made sure that I am comfortable there before starting the interview. After that, they asked me to introduce myself. So, in any interview, that is the thing that is the most important one for all of us to remember. Tell me about yourself. You should be aware of what you are going to tell in that answer because that is going to reflect your personality overall. That is going to reflect what all you have done so far, what you want to do in your life. So you have to sum it up, you have to summarize it in such a way that it reflects your overall personality and it reflects the real you in the interview. So you have to make sure that you give that answer really well. Why is it so? Because of the fact that when you are in the interview room, they are not aware of who you are. They do not know you from the last 20 or 25 years of your life. They know you just for those 10 to 15 minutes, right? So, for that, you have to make sure if they are able to get that summary from you. So, you have to make sure that you are able to summarize yourself. You are able to reflect what exactly you are. So, you have those 15 to 20 minutes and you have to plan accordingly in order to make sure that they should get an idea of what your talent is, what all your strong areas are. So you have to plan your interview preparation accordingly. Okay, so let's move on with the further discussion. So after that, they asked me certain questions, certain general questions. The first one was after the tell me about yourself question. The next was why bank? You are working, you have completed your engineering, so you can go to the IT sector, private sector. Why bank? That should be very clear to you, that why do you want to join bank if you are having plenty of opportunity in the private sector. They asked me that question, and they took their time with that question. So in that they had certain cross questions as well. They asked me certain things to check whether I actually want to join the bank or not. What is my purpose behind it? What is the driving force that made me write this exam and that is motivating me to get this job? Afterwards they asked me certain more general questions regarding what I understand about the role of IT officer in a bank. What do I understand, what do I think will be my role in the bank as an IT officer. They tried to check what all I know about it and what is my knowledge about the working of bank and why, what is the importance of IT sector, what is the importance of IT in any bank. After that, so this was the generic question. After that they moved to certain technical things. So they asked me certain questions from the computer network. They asked me regarding the differences between the switch and the router. They asked me certain things regarding DHCP. They asked me certain things regarding the MIS. Afterwards they even asked me about the firewalls and various other things related to it. They also asked me in detail about the IT security frauds that are happening. So they asked me whether am I aware of any recent fraud that has happened in any of the bank, that was any case of where you can see the IT security breach that has happened. So they asked me about that. After that, so I've read about it, so I explained them, and even in another country what I've read about it. So you all must also read about what is going on in the world, and relating to your IT security, you should be aware of what are the cyber frauds that are happening and how the banks get attacked. So everything you should be aware of. Okay. After that, they asked me certain more questions. So there were some questions from the SQL, the structured query language. They asked me certain queries as well. Then they gave me a question in which they asked me if I have to swap two numbers. So they asked me the logic, and afterwards they asked me that without using a third variable, how would you do that? So they even gave me a pen and paper. They are not checking your coding there, they are checking your logics. So they were there to check whether am I able to know that how it is done. It is not exactly that I have to write the complete code. It is the case that they want to know how am I approaching a question. So they gave me certain questions from this area. Afterwards, they asked me some other questions relating to the database management system, the transaction management as well. After that, they asked me certain more questions from the computer networks. So because computer networks, IT security, these are the areas which are very even after clearing the IBPS SOIT officer exam, when you join the bank, you will get an opportunity, you may get an opportunity to work in one of these sections. So they asked me certain things about the computer networking in detail as well. After that, they shooted some more questions that were from the technical domain, and after that they came back to my personal profile. So they asked me about my final year project, what have I done in my final year. After that, they asked me whether I am willing to work in, if I'm getting a chance even after some years, if I'm getting a chance to work in private sector, so will I be willing to switch there, or I will be here only. So they made sure to make it very clear what is my motto behind that. Okay. Afterwards, they asked certain more questions. There were some questions from the abstract class in Java, although not much questions were there from Java. Most of the questions were from C++, and your in C and C++ as well. They were not actually asking in much detail. The thing was, they wanted to check if you are aware of the basic syntax that is there, the basic things that are there. Okay. All right. From the sorting, they asked me one complexity question from sorting part as well. Okay, so as far as I remember, these were the questions. Some more questions were there. So it was around 15 to 20 minutes, and a lot of questions were there. And I cannot recollect all, but I can tell you that 75% of them were from your technical domain. So there are very low chances that they will be asking any banking current affairs unless it is related to your IT part. So you have to make sure if there is anything that is going on currently related to IT. And yes, there was some more things as well. There was a question about the direct benefit transfer as well. So that also you must be aware of, because of the fact that direct benefit transfer is your very important thing. And why is it so? Because see, direct benefit transfer, if there is anything in the banking sector that relates to the IT, and they're not expecting you to know everything that is going on in the bank, but yes, if there is a current affair, if there is anything that is going on in news, you should be aware of that thing. So yes, they expected that. So I answered that question. After that, another thing was, they asked me what all do I know about the bank IT department. and they asked me a question about the core banking solution as well. So they asked me that Finacle belongs to, and it is this software Finacle is given by which company. So which company developed Finacle? So it is by Infosys. Various banks use their own core banking solutions, right? So some banks use banks BANCS, and then some use Finacle, and there are various CBS softwares that are there. So I would recommend you all to go through all of them. Reason being, you should be aware of as much as you can know. You should be aware of the working and what exactly you are supposed to do. If you're selected as an IT officer, you will be working on those softwares, so you should have a very clear understanding of these things. And it shows your curiosity, that how much you want to be a part of this organization, how much you want to become a IT officer in that bank. So you must prepare yourself with as much as you can, whatever your previous experience is. If you are already working, so you should have very clear understanding of what all you are doing currently, and what is your role, and how that role can help you in this job. So this question was there in NABARD IT officer exam, that whatever you are doing in this organization, how you're going to get benefited, or how you can benefit the bank, how you can benefit NABARD with whatever you have worked in the previous organization. So these are really common questions, so you should be aware of, you should be very clear with your answers in such matters. Apart from that, they asked certain more questions regarding the personal profile. It was relating to the college and the hometown and these basic things. It was more like a discussion afterwards. After that, it was done, and this is all I can recall for now. But I really want to advise you all to be really confident. And in interview, even if you are not able to answer anything, they are not there to judge your just the knowledge level, because they have already judged your knowledge level in the written test. Your approach should be very good. So if you're having proper knowledge, and if you're not able to put it in the right manner, it is not going to be of any use. You should make sure that whatever you have studied, you are able to put it. See, if I am a person, I'm studying a lot, I really have the whole encyclopedia in my head, but if I'm not good at expressing, there is no use of that. And that is the most important point in any interview. So you should make sure that you are able to express yourself well, you are able to put in whatever you have studied, you are able to put it in that table. So, whatever is asked, you should make the best utilization of what all knowledge you are having. It's not just about speaking. Take a moment. As any question is asked to you, take a moment and think about it. After framing it properly in your head, go ahead with your answer. If you are comfortable in Hindi, please, please prepare for the interview in Hindi. Language is not even a slightest of matter in terms of selection. You can continue in Hindi, you can continue in English, whatever you are most comfortable in, because your confidence will get affected with that. So if you're comfortable in Hindi, please go on with Hindi. Express your answers well, and that is the key to any interview. Focus on all your technical subjects, mostly the computer networks and IT security, which is the most important area. After that, you go to the DBMS and operating system, data structures, and some basics of programming as well. Okay, so I believe this is sufficient. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you all do well in your interview, and all the very best.